call the roll.
Mr. Plasbach?
Here.
Mrs. Hoskins? Here. Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. McGovern? Ms. Stevens? Here. Mrs. Schott? And student representative.
Here.
Thank you.
And if you could read the calendar, please.
On Monday, June 4th, 2018, there'll be a CLAP meeting at 6:30 p.m. at Davisville Academy. Tuesday, June 12th, there will be a school committee business meeting. And on Tuesday, June 26th, there's a school committee business meeting.
Thank you. And with unanimous consent of the committee, I'm going to move citizens' comments up before the presentation. I just know we have some students here, and it is a school night, so I don't want to keep them later than we have to. So the first person on the list is Joseph Kramer. If you'd like to step up to the microphone, and if you could please state your name and address, and we ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
I have some things about that.
Sure, great. You can give them to our clerk. Thank you.
That's okay.
Joseph Kramer, 248 Rodman Lane. I'm a junior at North Kingstown High School, and I'm here to discuss my democracy project, which is to try to get new mats for the wrestling team. I've been on the team for 2 years now, and I've seen this issue firsthand. The current situation as it is, we have 2 mats. One is called the Gold Mat. It's from 2010. We purchased it mostly through third parties. It's not in great condition, but it's okay. There's not a lot of complaints about it. But the other mat is what we call the black mat. It's over 25 years old. It has a lot of rips and holes, as you can see in the packet I've given. We usually don't use that mat for competition, but our yearly tournament at the South County tournament, it has to be used, and I don't think it makes North Kingstown look good with all the mat with all holes in it and rips. So if you want to look into your packet, on the front, I have my Google survey. At the time, that 260 people took it, and 85% of the people thought that it was not safe to have people wrestling mats that are 25 years old. So in image 1, you can see the rips being held together just by tape and layers of the mat folding and peeling back. And in image 2, there's another example of layers peeling and wrinkling in the mat. And if there's wrinkling in the mat, it's basically a rule of thumb that it's too late to fix it and repair it. Image 3 is an expanded shot of the mat. You can see all of it. Image 4, there's a big hole in it where there's open to the foam inside of it, which is dangerous and can spread infectious diseases such as ringworm, which is a common disease around wrestlers, and it's a big problem in the sport. And image 5 is a rip on the mat being held together by tape, which can come off sometimes and then just a rip in the middle of practice. The thing that worries me the most about it is image 4 would be the hole in the mat. I got an expert's opinion. I emailed Coach Jay Jones from Rhode Island College. He went on to say, as a quote, "I'm heading into my 20th year as head coach at Rhode Island College. Before we even consider our roster, technique, uniform, purchasing, schedule, or anything else, we have to make sure we have a safe and secure environment for our participants. We could never and will never have an open tear on a mat surface, as that would provide a porous environment for bacteria and other potential harmful skin situations to exist." And he also wanted to say there is no telling what we can get into in a mat situation. I would definitely recommend getting the one new mat to replace the significantly old one and get the newer one repaired if there are any open areas. There's people on the team that have gotten ringworm throughout the season, and I'm sure a new mat would definitely help that and reduce it. So price range, I got 3 separate quotes from 3 separate companies. The lowest was $8,000, the middle one was $9,000, and the most expensive one was $13,000. I put some customization on it because obviously if we're going to get a mat, it has to say North Kingstown on it, just like the other ones. And obviously I know money's pretty tight. You can't just reach into the budget and hand out $10,000. So what I ask is with the $2.3 million plan to get the track and field renovated and all that, if you add, say you meet in the middle with the quotes, like $10,000 would be less than a 1% increase in the price of the project. It would make a big difference on how the program is viewed and the safety of the athletes. And on a side note, I also contacted the president of the Booster Club, and I've yet to get a response. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Oh, just a quick question, because we were wondering, when is Democracy Night? We didn't get
I
an email.
believe
yet.
it's June 7th.
Okay, great, thanks. Most of us try to get there, so.
I'll be there.
We'll look for you.
Did you say June 7th?
June 7th, yeah.
Isn't that?
Maybe.
Okay, thank
Is that,
you.
okay. All right, thank you very much. Any other people who maybe didn't sign up to speak at citizens' comments but would like to? Okay, so next on our agenda is the presentation on the special construction fiber update. Mr. Waterman?
So because I've been pumped, that means you can give me extra time, right? I have a short version and a long version tonight.
Go in the door. No offense.
6 slides, here's the first one. Okay, so the reason I'm here tonight is, as you may remember, back in April 25th, 2017, we approved a special construction project which will link all of our buildings with fiber optic cable, which will have the control over the speeds. On December 1st, we were approved by USAC and RIDE, and USAC and the FCC, and their approval comes with money. They've agreed to fund 50% of the project, just as we had discussed back in March and April. And then over the next few months, we went back and forth with Ocean, and it was mainly the attorneys went back and forth, cleaning up language to our 20-year agreement. So where we stay with construction is in April, Ocean ordered the fiber cables. On May 7th, they began running the cables. So if you've seen any broadband access trucks, usually flanked by a couple of North Kingstown cruisers, that's our cable that they're putting up on the poles. On May 8th, Ocean and the NKSD network manager went around and installed the new switches in each of the network closets that will be connected to the new fiber cables that are coming in. And configuration was completed, so our programming was all loaded onto these switches by May 17th. So now we'll get into the site-specific schools. On May 15th, the fiber was run from the final pole to Fishing Cove. Splicing is when they bring the cable inside the network closet and they put up a fiber distribution panel. So that's the cable's now been spliced, and the final connection, which I'll get into, is connecting from the fiber distribution panel to the switch. On May 21st, which was yesterday, the fiber was run from the final pole into DA and is spliced. So DA is all but ready to go. It just needs to be connected. Today, fiber was spliced between the high school, and 6 additional strands were spliced between the high school and the data center. So what's unique about the high school is the majority of their network equipment is all kept down in the D building in our office. So the fiber went into the high school and then had to be spliced into the existing fiber that runs between our buildings. I don't have a specific date, but during this month, Ocean received verbal permission from the Quonset Development Corporation, and if you look out the backside, there are flags on where they're actually going to run the fiber into this building, and they expect that to take place next week, weather permitting. On May 21st, so during this week, fiber is being run from Newcomb down to Mark Drive, and then once that's done, it will be spliced. That's a typo from Fishing Cove to Quinnesset, obviously. And then on Thursday, the fiber will be brought and spliced into Forest Park. So what do we have left? Fiber has to be run and spliced to admin, to DMS, Wickford, Stony Lane, and Hamilton. So the way this project works is you have different crews working. You've got the line guys who are actually running the fiber on the telephone poles, and then they leave a coil at the last telephone pole. The splicers then come in, take that coil, run it into the building, splice it to the fiber distribution panel, and then the network manager or network engineer from Ocean will come and make the final connection from the fiber distribution panel into the switch. So right now they're chasing each other. So I actually imagine that the fiber is being run to admin, Davisville, Wickford, Stony Lane, and Hamilton as we speak. I can confirm Davisville has the coil because when they went to DA, they went right by Davisville, so it just hasn't been run into the building. So anticipated completion is June 8th on the remaining buildings as far as getting the fiber run to the buildings, spliced in. The weeks of June 11th and 18th will be the connection of the fibers. That's the fiber distribution panel into the new switch. And then what they'll do while there's no traffic on it, they'll run all their performance tests. That agreement that I referenced that took a few months had very specific benchmarks that the fiber must pass in order for us to accept it. And then the week of June 25th is when we will actually begin our cut over to the new fiber ring. And all this work per USAC and the FCC has to be done by July 1st. So we are right on schedule, right where we would need to be. So don't anticipate any complications as long as the weather continues to cooperate.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
I just forgot. Do we own the fiber?
It is an indefeasible right of usage. So we do not own it. It's not a lease. It's ours for 20 years. So it's a depreciable what's up? Asset. Thank you. It's a depreciable asset that I don't want to say we own, but we're the only ones who can use it.
So do we have the right to move it?
So that question did come up. If needed, we would have to. So depending on
Like if we left this building?
if we left this building, and so we could certainly pull that coil up, and if our new location was within distance of that coil, then yes, we could move it.
Otherwise, we can just string it.
Otherwise, we'd have to pay for more
Correct.
stuff to go
Correct.
wherever it might be.
You need a long string and a couple of cups.
Those 100-foot extension cords.
Or as the guys like to joke, a cable stretcher. That's what they. So the guys in the office like to say, we just need a cable stretcher. So
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much for your
Thank
hard
you.
work on this. Thank you.
We have a few recognitions.
Okay, recognitions.
Dr. Humbert?
It's my pleasure to tell you some more good news. First of all, from the state of Rhode Island, they had the annual Patriotic State Art Competition from Auxiliary, is that how you say it? 916. And the winners this year, at first place was Michaela Rush, who's from the high school, and third place was Sierra Fury, also from the high school. And these students are invited to be recognized at the Saturday morning business session on June 2nd at the state convention. We also had the World Language Department announcing that there were recipients for the Seal of Biliteracy this year. We had 43 students who received this, which is 7 more than the previous year. And out of those 43, 2 students qualified in 2 languages, making them, 3 languages, making them effectively trilingual and triliterate. And then under the direction of Mrs. Strain, Skylar Rubrek's artwork entitled Blue was recognized as an honorable mention in Senator Reed's high school art competition. Was recognized on Sunday, May 20th at the Warwick Mall.
At this point, I would like to congratulate Josh. This is his last meeting with us as a student representative. Josh is also the valedictorian of the class of 2018.
Congratulations. And could I take a guess where you might be going to school?
Brown.
Unsurprising.
And it looks like he got a lot of media coverage today. That's the picture. Is that you up there, Josh? Right.
That would be me.
And where were you? Is that you today?
Yep.
And can you tell us about that event a little bit?
Sure. So there was this event hosted by ABC6 that basically got together all the valedictorians from really all over Rhode Island, from all the schools, and kind of brought everyone together to, I guess, celebrate, and they wanted to interview some of the students.
So Josh also has another recognition. The Secretary of State Nellie Goubert honored Josh and Aubrey Foreman from our high school this month with the 2018 Rhode Island Civic Leadership Award. This award is given annually at a State House ceremony to high school students.
Finding this out for the first time.
Well, this was last year.
It
So
was?
This was last May. Yeah.
Maybe you got it again.
Maybe, I guess. I have no idea.
Do you know, Dr. Mercer?
I think they were just talking about it. The guidance counselors were with Mr. Verrier, so I want to say.
Congratulations.
Dr. Humbert's pleased to present that to you.
Are you also one of our biliteracy students?
Yep.
See,
Oh, yay.
complete
Good.
package,
Good.
Josh, way to go.
So I don't know about this, I don't know where I got it from, but
Well, congratulations all
Yes.
around.
Thank you.
And good luck next year.
Thanks.
So, where are we here? So next, we have routine items. So I would ask for a motion to seal the executive session minutes of this evening, May 22nd, 2018.
So moved.
A motion, Ms. Hoskins.
Second.
Second, Ms. Stevens. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes, any noes? Passes unanimously. And I can disclose that no votes were taken in this evening's executive session. Next, we have our consent agenda. Do any members have any items they would like to exempt from our consent agenda?
Motion to exempt,
We don't have motions, so just
Oh.
exempt.
exempt C1 please.
C1. Any others?
D2,
D2.
E7.
E7. And I didn't get any notes of any tweaks to anything tonight, but okay. So I would ask for a motion to approve the non-exempted consent agenda items.
So moved.
A motion, Ms. Stevens. Second, Ms. Hoskins. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. First exempted item is C1. I assume you just want to, could I get a motion to approve C1?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Ms. Hoskins, second, Mr. Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And abstention from Ms. Stevens. Next exempted item, Mr. Jones, was D2.
Yeah, but do we need to exempt D1 since Dr. Humber's got a cheaper price?
Oh, we should tweak that.
Or do we,
Um,
sorry.
no, let's see. Let's do this.
Mhm.
I'm,
The amount's
We
going
just
down.
voted on it.
we voted
But
on
the
it.
amount's going down.
The amount's
It's not
going down.
So just just notice that the, yeah.
So, just a brief note, we were able to get a reduction in the price. Please pay the reduced price. Not the price that was in the packet, but we approved the purchase. Okay, so we don't need to revote that, that's fine. So item D2.
Yes, so, I make a motion to approve D2, and also make the FY18 budget adjustment to adjust object line 53301 in the amount of the purchase.
3-year option.
Right, we need to pick whoever,
Yes.
so your motion is. for
Yes,
three.
yes, you're correct, thank you. Maybe we should have the superintendent tell us, but I think he recommended the 3-year option. So, yes, I will make a motion to approve the 3-year option for Lexia Reading Core 5, with the charge going to object line 53301
In the amount
and the
of-
appropriate adjustment made to the line for Lexia.
So, hold on, we've got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Hoskins, and Dr.
Well, we
Dr.
are
Joseph.
recommending the 3-year option. Dr. Humbert can tell you about the details.
I think we've had extensive conversation.
Well, I know you,
Oh,
Mr.
right.
Jones, but I
I
mean,
don't know if any.
I can also,
Okay.
so we have 3 different options. The 3-year option, which is recommended by the administration, comes at a significantly reduced price over
Right.
a lesser term. So that is the reason to do that.
4 years, less per year.
And you're comfortable with the product and its suitability for the next 3 years. So I think it makes sense to take advantage of the price reduction since we'd be using it for that term anyway. Any questions on the item? We have a motion and a second for further discussion. Then if not, all those in favor of approving item D2 with Mr. Jones's comments, that is moved. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Next was item E7.
I think it's important that the superintendent, review this item before the committee votes on it.
Okay, so would you like to table it, or you mean discuss?
Well, at least
it?
we can discuss it, or at least have the superintendent talk about it.
Oh, you mean just review it for you?
Yes.
this evening? Okay.
got it.
So the adjustments are, at, hold my paperwork here, just to make sure I'm getting my details right. At the high school, there are a series of, adjustments to be made, for the most part, and Dr. Mansouri, if you want to chime in on any of this, they have to do with increased enrollment for the career and technical program. So, and that, in some cases, means that, their actual career and tech options, the courses, and in some cases, it means the courses that the career and tech students take besides career and tech courses. So, math and science is included. I think there's a .2 for special ed at the high school as well. At DMS, there is a .2 music and .6 for PE. The PE includes adaptive PE, and those are items that, after a lot of review of the schedule, after the memorandum of agreement that we went into, we realized that to live up to that memorandum and the requirements for the number of students per day, we would need to fill in that respect. And at Davisville Academy, there's a .2 nurse. Right now we have a full-time nurse. The problem at Davisville Academy is that it starts its day with high school students on the high school schedule, and it ends its day with elementary students on an elementary schedule. So the day is actually an elongated day, and by just contract, the nurse can only do a regular day. So we need to kind of expand that day. So this would be the nurse taking on a 1.2 position, and we also need an elective to help with art. We've done some changes in the way staffing is done at DA, but just due to enrollment and due to the scheduling needs of the students that we have, we need an extra elective, and that would be art for us in this case.
And I point out that, looking at our projected enrollments in the CTE program next year, that, it comes with additional funding, but
Right.
sometimes it does also require an increase in staffing, but in the long run, we do make out that
Right.
the programs allow us, to more than cover the expenses. And one other advantage is that, if the need ever occurred where enrollments were down in the CTE program, we need to adjust staffing levels accordingly. So, we have a motion, did we get a motion and a second at that point? Not yet, right, okay. So we would need a motion to approve item E7. Anyone would like to make a motion?
So moved.
A motion from Ms. Stevens, a second? Second. Any further discussion?
I don't think that's the thing, yes.
Any other questions? Okay. Then, if there isn't any other discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Next, we have item F, which is the school committee approval of the revised substitute staffing rates for the following year. If I could have a motion to approve this item.
So
I have a motion
Second.
and a second, so motion Ms. Huskins, second Mr. Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we've reached unfinished business, which is the 2017-18 school budget. Anything to report there?
Nope.
2018-19 school budget?
Nope.
CIP bond, existing and future bond?
Well, yeah, actually, we'd just like to update the committee that
Mhm.
Dr. Ogier and I were at the Council for Elementary and Secondary Education meeting last Tuesday night, I think it was Tuesday, and we were approved for our 35% housing aid based on the projects that were put forward by us and our architect. So that's really good news as we head into a bond, meaning that the approved projects on that list, not all of them, but the vast majority of them would be reimbursable at 35% by RIDE. So that's very good news.
And
Yeah, Mayor, can you just clarify, because I think it's important for the town people, that, it's all taxpayer money, so I don't wanna be thing, but from a North Kingstown taxpayer perspective, that effectively reduces our bond request from 13.5 million to about 10-ish?
In the long run, absolutely, so.
From North Kingstown
Right,
taxpayer.
Right, and we will be able to, because the state has done a couple of different track projects, and they've done a couple of different faster funding sources, it doesn't mean that all of that will come on a 20-year bond basis, a housing need spread out over 20 years. Some of the projects, we might be able to get that money up front, so it never gets paid. So it basically does in effect though mean if you have $10 million worth of bonding that you need, 35% of that is gonna come back from RIDE. So it's $3.5 million, it's a lot of money. And that is something that Mr. Mollis had been counting on in his numbers. It's very helpful to make that bond number be just about tax neutral to the town of North Kingstown. So, and that was the result of the stage 1 and stage 2 analysis, necessity of school construction, which was a very long process, but we did get through it and we got to where we're looking.
And to your point, Mr. Jones, while it is all Rhode Island taxpayer money, if it didn't come here, it would go somewhere else, so I would rather it
Right.
come.
Oh, correct.
Next is financial reports, which are in your packet. Any questions on those?
Do we get those adjusted?
We did, sorry.
Just check.
If not, we've reached the end of the agenda. If I could have a motion to adjourn. Motion Ms. Stevens.
Second.
Second Ms. Hoskins. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you, everybody.